Seed Savers Exchange is a resource for people where they actually distribute thousands of heirloom and open pollinated seeds and preserve seeds, and keep a database of seeds that are that they and their partners have saved. I just want to provide you with some of the resources that are out there. BC Seeds is a mission of farm folk, city folk, and they're partnering with a lot of these local seed growers to actually have a database and provide resources and articles and events and manuals about some seed saving for growers in BC. They're a great resource as well. And all these places have websites that are easily accessible to everyone. Seeds of Diversity Canada is a larger national organization, kind of like Seeds of the BC one that we were just looking at. So they do education and provide all kinds of resources for people as well. So there's just tons of resources out there as seeds have grown, and it's easy to just pick up a catalog and order seeds from the to order seeds from just a generic catalog, or to just go to the hardware store and buy some seeds. But to pay a little bit of extra and support a local farmer, or to find a new variety, it adds a lot of depth to the whole experience of growing vegetables, and I would highly recommend it. So again, I can't talk about heirlooms today without talking about livestock, because it's a really important thing. It's not my personal interest, although I have grown some pretty chickens before. I don't know anything quite as beautiful as that silky bantam, but these are some of the varieties that are being grown in Canada. People out in the freezing parts of the country are growing Galloway cattle because they're so hardy, cold hardy, and the Highland cattle are just gorgeous. You just want to go and give it a hug. And these varieties are extremely important and extremely important to preserve because of their genetic diversity and their breeding potential, because you can breed these with some of our more common varieties and find and get characteristics that will help human society survive over the long haul. Again, I have to talk about fruit and nuts. There is groups that are out there trying to preserve all the variety of fruits and nuts that are available. Many of these varieties were historically important. In England, there was a huge industry around cider production. Throughout history, there was the French wine and then the English cider, and some of that remnant of that still exists today. And over in the Shuswap, we have a history of apples, and in Okanagan. I don't know, was there many apples grown in Kamloops historically? Probably was at one point in time. So there's a big movement to kind of bring back some of our heritage fruits as well. Grains. There's a woman named Sharon Rempel on the coast who had a lot to do with the whole beginning of Seedy Saturdays in BC. A quote from her that I find inspiring is, "Having faith and courage to develop a new system starts with the seed," which is so true. You can't really start any kind of garden or farm unless you have seeds. It's a fundamental thing. Well, seeds and soil. Soil is equally important. But she has a book out, Demeter's Wheats, and a great website, grassrootssolutions.com, that has a lot of resources and inspiring stuff. So, preserving genetic diversity. Preserving seed diversity is comparable to preserving species biodiversity in our world. The end result of loss of diversity is the same tragic end. Once it's gone forever. So if we think about the fish disappearing in the oceans or the rainforest being cut down, those were all formed over thousands of years of natural selection. Our seeds have been come about through artificial selection, human selection, but they're equally as important to the survival of human societies. And once they're gone forever. We don't know what kind of valuable genetic traits or combination of traits could lie within the seeds that we have, and we must preserve our diversity as a means of feeding future generations. Our genetic bank of diversity is literally the fruit of our ancestors' labor. So I provided this picture up here because this poor fellow carting this cabbage out of that field, would we want to waste our ancestors' labor? I mean, this guy's working really hard to give us what we have today. So I provided a Vandana Shiva quote that I find extremely inspiring. Diversity creates harmony, and harmony creates beauty, balance, bounty, and peace in nature and society, in agriculture and culture, in science and in politics. So it's all about diversity. on every level. Saving seed empowers people to take ownership and develop deeper connections with their botanic genetic heritage. So it gives us a more depth and more of a connection with our garden. Seed no longer has to be a generic product from a generic company. Seed can once again be a dynamic, living cultural artifact. Not only can we preserve the 10,000 years of genetic plant development work that our ancestors have handed down, but we can continue to build upon that knowledge for future generations. So we're just one generation in this whole process, and what we're doing today will be utilized by future generations of people. And we're just part of a long history and heritage, and it's pretty exciting. And every year is different, and I'd recommend supporting local seed savers. So thank you. I think that's the conclusion, and I appreciate your time.
Now I think we have time for questions.
Yes.
Difference between hybrid and GMO?
Okay, the GMO seed is one that has had genetic material from a different plant placed into the genetics of that plant. So it's a foreign substance essentially put into there through a scientific process. There's a couple different ways they do it, but it's not natural in the sense that it's a foreign object being introduced to that genetic characteristic. So compared to a hybrid would be, because you could breed two types of cauliflower and you get another type of cauliflower. But if you get a cauliflower and then you put some genes from a fish or some other kind of microbe and stuck it in there to get a specific characteristic, then that would be genetically modified. There's a lot of examples out there, and there's a lot of resources. I would really recommend getting educated on that, because it's a really, corn and soybeans are two of the biggest genetically modified things in there and make up a huge percentage of the items on the grocery store shelves. So to learn about genetics and try to be aware of GMO, what is GMO and what we eat, is really important.
Well, I know you're talking corn. Corn is GMO.
That's right.
Corn?
Yeah, there's a lot of varieties of heirloom corn available. If you buy one of the reasons to buy certified organic is because certified organic does not allow genetically modified organisms. There's no labeling system in Canada, so when you buy a product, you don't know if it's GMO. But if you buy certified organic, then you know it's Yeah, like most all the catalogs that I have listed today, we're not selling GMO seeds. And to support companies that don't sell GMOs is an important way of saying no to GMOs.
Two things. First of all, what was the kind of potato that was involved with the average potato family?
Does anybody know? It was a russet type.
You can't go?
Yeah, I don't know the answer, but it was a specific cultivar that was very popular, and there was like one or two other varieties that didn't have any kind of significance there. I wish I knew the answer, but I don't.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, part of it was that it was a monoculture, right? And like potatoes are prone. I mean, they try to get away from it, by going back to the original ones from South America. But I mean, eventually they do again become somewhat susceptible to the blight. And it's the fact that they had a monoculture, I think, was a
Second
problem.
thing, can you give me a definitive answer to the difference between a fruit and a vegetable?
That's a touchy one. I mean, there's a tomato is technically a fruit, not a vegetable. I think of anything that comes from a flower. Thank you. Is a fruit. Technically, it's kind of technical.
Comes from a
That comes from a flower. Would technically be a fruit.
like broccoli.
Well, broccoli would be a flower, actually.
That's right.
Technically, yeah. It gets kind of complicated, but there's been quite a bit of work in biodynamic agriculture, kind of looking at that. And it's a great question, and we could probably have a whole presentation
So
right there.
there is no definitive answer.
No, it's all kind of relative. If it tastes good, and then it makes you feel good when you eat it.
And when you're saving seeds, you call what the plant produces a fruit, right? And then you harvest the seeds from within the fruit usually. So I don't think there is a really definitive, because basically, a nut is a fruit, right? A fruit of the plant. And so yes.
So what you do is you put it in front of a kid, and the kid will eat it as a fruit.
There you go. There you go.
So that was wonderful. Thank you. Now, really good news. This presentation is being taped, and you will find it on sahalimall.com. So I think it's going to be on by tomorrow or maybe the next day. So do check it out if you want to watch it. And David's PowerPoint will also be on there. So hopefully you didn't cramp your hand taking notes, because you're going to find a lot of that right on the website. So thank you so much. Now, our presenters are doing this on a volunteer basis, so we're very thankful, because they're educating everybody, encouraging folks to grow their own vegetables, and in David's case, talking about the importance of heirloom vegetables. And just a note, we are offering now a membership to the CD Saturday, the Friends of the CD Saturday committee, and you don't have to be on a committee, but if you do join, we will be offering a seed saving course. So folks are really interested in learning how to do it. Some seeds are very simple to save, other ones are a little more complicated. So it's good to do it in the proper way. I don't know who was here in the session before, but Penny Powers was saying you have to save seed from so many different vegetables to keep the variety, the diversity, genetic diversity. For example, corn, you might have to save from 100 plants. So, corn is a little bit hard to save. So it's just important to learn those specifics if you want to save good seed that comes true and has good genetic diversity and doesn't become inbred. So anyway, that booth is just out here. It's membership. There's a big sign saying membership, CD Saturday membership. So if anybody's interested in that, get your name down there. You will be contacted when we have a seed saving course. And also there's a draw there to win a couple seed saving books from Seeds of Diversity. So well worth dropping in, at least to put your name in to get the seed saving book. So thank you again, Dave. We have, of course, I mentioned it's volunteer, but we wanted to present our presenters with something. So this, step out of the light here. This is a recycled T-shirt, and it makes a grocery bag. Or in Dave's case, maybe for the farm, gathering some vegetables in it. These were the shoulders at one point, very simple to make. I did not put the sunflower on yours, although I could have, but I gave you a trowel. Or manly, right? Anyway, and a chili pen. We have a chili pepper pen. So thank you very much. And again, let's give Dave a round of applause.